Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bait and I make plans for 7:45 and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Not a lot of announcements tonight because we do have an action-packed show. We have some incredible guests coming up, courtesy of Yvonne. And, of course, our good buddy Jay, who has decided to bring on somebody that has an extra special announcement that I think is really cool and very deserved of this female angler. So it's a lot of females tonight. We've got lots going on. So I'm not going to spend too much time on announcements. But I did want to say, stuff like this. A big shout out to Steve, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight. But I did want to give him props. His editing is starting to take on, it's becoming professional. Walter, we know, is a professional when he does it, but Steve's is right there as well. His creativity is phenomenal. So again, just to remind anybody who does want a photo edit, please, I beg you, put it in the inbox. Go to the CFN Facebook page, Canadian Fishing Network Facebook page. Click message, and that's how you put it in there to get edited. And as I said, some absolutely phenomenal stuff that's coming out of the editing department, courtesy of both Walter and Steve. Again, Fish Whipped Apparel. Barb would be very, very upset if I came on here live and did not mention this. But of course, there's CFN swag and a really cool CFN package that is available, courtesy of Fish Whipped and Babs, good old Babs. So make sure if you are interested in picking up a hat, a buff, and of course, a boat flag, Fish Whipped Apparel is the place that you're going to get it. Of course, our many retreats that are going on this year at Jan Lake. We got to get the owners on here soon before that event, but that event is packed. One thing I did want to mention, if you are thinking of coming to our 4th annual CFN retreat, courtesy of Horwood Lake Lodge, we'd really love to see you there. We'd love to see you a part of this incredible group that comes back every year, because it's an awesome time. And I want to thank Richard Dunlop for putting his efforts towards getting butts in the beds for this event. I know things are tough. Gas prices are through the moon, but we want to see you there. And it's a special week. The rate is deducted for our CFN community. So if you want to take advantage of some incredible fishing, some good eats, and some good peeps, we want to see you there. If that's not enough, here's a 30-second promo video to whet your appetite. And it is true. The adventure awaits. It also awaits at our wonderful and generous sponsors, Camp McIntosh, and the first ever OFC Nation retreat We'll have CFN as well as OFC members at this event. It's a 3-day, 2-night event at Camp McIntosh in September. Of course, the CFN retreat is in August. I probably failed to mention that. And of course, if you need a little bit of incentive to go, here's something courtesy of Camp McIntosh. Yeah, I can't wait either, Barry. It's going to be a great time. It always is. When CFNers and OFCers get together, she's a good time. Maybe even too good. Needless to say, those are all the announcements I have. There's many others that I want to talk about before we do. Of course, the CFN Fish-Off continues, and I want to bring Mike in here for a quick update. So let me bring him in. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Scotty!
Yeah, baby.
Couple announcements, but it's the ladies' night, so we can't keep the ladies waiting.
No, absolutely not. That would be very inappropriate of us to do that.
The CFN Fish-Off, it ends this coming Sunday, midnight Eastern time. So you got lots of time. You got this whole week until Sunday midnight to submit as many species as possible. The reason why that is important is up till now, let's say if you've caught 12 species, that'll give you 12 ballots into our next draw. If you've caught 14 species, 15, 18, 20 species, every single species gets you a ballot into our CFN draw, our final week 4 draw. So try to catch as many species as you can, even if, let's say, you're in 200th place and you only caught 3 species. That's 3 ballots into our awesome Shimano draw. So try to catch as many species as possible. But this week, well, not this week, the last week, which is this week right here, but we'll be having to draw next week. We have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Shimano combos to give away. So one of the draws will be all the species, like we mentioned. Every species is 1 ballot, but we have a special Shimano draw. And all you got to do is on camera, show whatever Shimano you have. Some of you will be like, maybe you have a hoodie like I do. Thank you, Shimano. Maybe you have a hat like Scotty does.
Or a banner.
Real. A set of pliers. It has to be Shimano fishing. Can't be Shimano biking. And someone asked that before. So Shimano fishing. You might have a bag. You might have a decal on your car. Any Shimano logo related to fishing will give you an additional ballot into our Show Our Shimano draw. So our code this week is simple. 2 words, the smallest code we have ever had in the history of the Fish-Off. The code is Fish Shimano.
Yep.
So I'd say the code Fish Shimano. I would show my Shimano logo. Could be a rod, it could be a reel, could be a sweater. And that'll give you a ballot into our Show Our Shimano draw. And you might win. You might win for a species. You might win just for showing your Shimano.
And remember, #NextGenCFN for a draw prize that we will be showing and unveiling very, very soon for all of our young anglers that are participating. I know David is doing a fantastic job bringing out a whole bunch of young folks and tagging NextGenCFN in the Facebook page, in the video that he submits to the Facebook page. So we're looking forward to that. So keep that in mind as well. Mike, I will say this, and I really appreciate, because, at the end of the day, there's no getting around it. Everybody has seen it. Everybody is witnessing it. I don't want to bring too much light upon it, but I do want to say this. Yes, it has been a tough year. There has been some negativity. There's been some things that have gone on behind the scenes that Mike and I have been working feverishly to fix, to find some common ground. But I really want to thank a lot of individuals that reached out to me, and I'm sure have reached out to you, Mike, continuing their support, showing their support, and just, giving a pat on the back. I really appreciate that, because it has been a different year, and we're not perfect, but we try to be as close to as possible. But on behalf of myself, Mike, the entire CFN Fish Off team, including the judges, we thank you for your support.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a tough year. It's just there's tough situations within an amazing year.
Yeah.
We have, 200 teams, over 400 anglers, 99% of which are amazing. It's just there's certain individuals, because of their negativity, because how they feel they need to deal with a situation in a public humiliating matter. Like, there's certain individuals that make something amazing a little tougher than it should be. So definitely, if there's anything you want us to review, let us know. If there's any comments that you think should not be on a community page, let us know, because the more we work on it together, the better it'll be for everyone else. So let's do it together. I can't read every single thing posted, especially every comment. Scotty can't read the same, but definitely if there's something, hey, you guys should take a look at this, or can you put a little more research into this situation? All those things we take extremely, extremely serious. So let us know. And if we do it together as a community, like I said, it'll be better for the community.
Amen, brother. Right on. Well said. And that's a mic drop right there. Mike, we will be on tomorrow at 7, Tourney Tuesday, to give away a whole bunch of some incredible Shimano combos. Looking forward to that. Until then, buddy.
All right. See everyone tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Right on, dude. Okay, let's bring in Yvonne. She's up next. Yvonne.
Hey,
yeah, baby.
How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Living the dream, as always, as they say. You've been busy. You had your meet and greet this past weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was really, really good. There was about, I think, 18 ladies that got together in London at the Fanshawe Conservation Area. Kat Bowden, Alicia Retrowski, Trisha Wallace, and Sarah Jinkerson. They organized the event, did a fantastic job. They had a really good format. People kind of arrived, and that was the meet and greet part of it. Then we had lunch, and then, we all went fishing, and it was a lot of fun. And it was nice to see ladies from that area come out to the event. So we've already been talking about doing something else, or probably at least another event, 1 or 2 in that area next year. And we're looking at, we've never done a catfish event, but apparently Trisha and Sarah know some spots, and so we may go down there in May and do a catfish event.
Cool. Right on. Well, yes, absolutely. They know those waters very, very well.
Yeah.
And fish it frequently, and have shown us some incredible fish down in that area. So Can only imagine. I'm sure you have some other announcements you want to get to as well.
Yes, I do. I don't know where to put my notes. I have so much paper on my desk right now. Hey. So we also have our Elbow Lake trip coming up. It's our 10th anniversary celebration. There's I think we got 12 spots open. We had opened it up to volunteers just because of the years of work that a lot of these ladies have done. We wanted to invite them as ahead of time. We are going to try to have some special guests. We're having a fish fry on Saturday night and potluck dinners. I will post the registration opens this Wednesday at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's $200 to sign up. It's $200 whether you come for 2 nights or 3, just because we have to pay for all the cabins for 3 nights. And it is a wonderful lake for learning on. There's nothing with teeth in it. The bass aren't, they have some big ones in there, but they're mostly, between 2 and 3 pounds, I would say. And so if you're just learning how to handle fish, it's a really good opportunity to, to go to that lake. It is run by Queen's University and the Nature Conservancy of Canada. So it's a nature reserve, and they have certain restrictions like no live bait, barbless hooks, all catch and release, but it's a lot of fun. The other announcement is we're doing our 2022 fundraiser as well. And we have these kind of fishing towels. You buy a towel for $20 and you're entered into a free draw. And this June's draw is a Lucky Strike Baitworks package, wow, as well as a 10-foot Angler Pro fishing kayak from Das King. Very, very generous company. They also donated to us last year. And the total value of the package is $1,600. So we have about 40 towels left. I'll post that link in the chat as well. So if you're interested, and anybody can buy a ticket or tickets, men, women, you don't have to be a member of OWA, but it goes towards OWA and just, our operational costs, because last year we did lose some funding, and we're trying different ideas for fundraising events, but it takes money to run any organization, right? So, and although we have great sponsors and volunteers, you still need the dollars. So, if anybody would like to support us and have their name put in this draw, that would be awesome.
Wow, that's very generous. How the Das Kings. That's amazing.
Oh, they're wonderful. We're having another event. It's not out yet. It's a kayak and canoe get together at Island Lake in Orangeville. And I believe it's Chris McCoy and Ava Wickens that are arranging it. And I believe they're going to try and get either a person from Das King to come with some demos that people could try out, or they're going to bring the kayaks themselves and do the demo on their own.
Very cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You guys are busy. I should say you ladies are busy.
Oh, yes.
That's fantastic. Some wicked events. And as I said, if you are intimidated about, getting involved in tournaments or other events that are co-ed, this is a great opportunity for you ladies to, get outside the box and be welcomed. Because the one thing that our guest tonight said that OWA and the fishing community has done a great job of is been very supportive, very welcoming, and had some great things to say about you, Yvonne, before we went live. So, but we'll be getting to Maya very, very soon. Are you done with your announcements, Yvonne?
Yes. Okay.
Well, listen, without further ado, I want to bring on this individual that I absolutely knew nothing about until tonight. Maya Basdeo. And I said that right. Basdeo. And I was actually shocked that I got it right. But anyway, Maya has been a busy gal. She has, I'm going to let her tell the story. But yeah, this is an absolute honor because she is involved with some incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maya, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, honored to be a part of this tonight. Maya, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to let Yvonne, as she usually does, take over with the line of questioning. But thanks so much for doing this tonight. It is a true honor to have you.
Thank you, Scotty. And thank you, Yvonne. And thank you for the invitation, and what a fantastic idea. Ladies' night. It was like, how do you say no to that? That's so awesome.
Maya and I met in 2016 at the OFAH Women's Outdoor Weekend, and she came with her bird it was a ferruginous hawk.
What did I have? No, that was a peregrine falcon. And a friend of mine came with a kestrel.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she and their friend did some outdoor demonstrations, and it was just I've seen falconry before, but I don't think I've been as close. And I actually I was allowed to have the kestrel on my arm, and I had a picture taken, and it was just so cool. And like falconry, it's the sport of kings, correct? And it really was, back in the day, and probably today, it's a huge financial and commitment as well as time, because you're responsible for this life, and every day you have to take care of it. So
Yeah.
I'll let you. Actually, what I wanted to ask was, like, how did you get involved in falconry?
Yeah, an interesting question, Yvonne. And I started off actually doing raptor rehabilitation. Because I've always been into the outdoors and conservation, and I started off doing raptor rehabilitation, and then I got into doing education with birds of prey, and releasing of peregrine falcons. And you can't work with raptors and not end up meeting falconers. And I had one of the first falconers I met, called, and I grew up in Toronto, born and raised, right? So, hunting was not anywhere in my family background. So I had a falconer friend, call me up one day and say, "Hey, I have this Harris hawk. I don't have time to train him. Can you train him?" And I said, "Oh, okay, great." And because I was all excited about, developing this relationship and this connection with the bird. And I said yes, and I got all excited. And then I realized, oh my, I have to hunt with this thing. And so it was, that was my introduction to hunting. And I tell you, I trained the bird, and when he took his first game, it's like a switch flipped, and I realized that I was a hunter. And it was like, how did I never know this? But so it was a roundabout way, but one of those decisions that just changed the course of my life.
So what type of prey would, like, I don't know if it'd be different, say, with a falcon or like the Harris hawk, because they're kind of different sizes of birds. So what would they hunt?
Yeah, different birds all over the world. Falconry is thousands of years old, and it's practiced all throughout the old world, and now in North America, for a few hundred years anyway, depending on where you go. It depends on what you're flying. Size is part of it, and feather type is part of it. So the falcons are typically bird hunters. They've got, like I've trained and flown a number of peregrines. So their feathers are very stiff, very rigid. And they're designed to hunt birds in the air and grab things in the air. So, they're waterfowl and upland game. And then the hawks, there is my first hawk, Marzi. They have softer feathers, and so they can. Harris hawks are really cool because they hunt. They're like a versatile hunting bird, right? They hunt fur and feather. So rabbits, crows. I used to hunt crows with my hawk. So yeah, it just depends, and then of course it depends on where you live and the kind of bird you have. Like in the north, if you there are some falconers that have in northern Ontario, they'll fly goshawks, so they hunt snowshoe hare, and you could also hunt grouse with them. So yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, it's probably days and days of chatting about falconry before you start to scratch the surface, but yeah, pretty cool.
You don't have a bird at the moment.
No. Yeah.
But I noticed that I believe you've worked at the airport.
Yeah.
As well with your birds to like get rid of seagulls.
Yes. Well. So I did wildlife control at Pearson Airport for a little while, and it's using falconry is an environmentally friendly way to keep potentially nuisance birds away from the active runways. And that the photo that there is I'm lure flying a falcon there by the approach of one of the runways. But bird strikes can cause an awful lot of damage, not to mention loss of life. So it's an important public safety thing, environmentally friendly, not overly using chemicals or necessarily lethal means. Because the cool thing is, even if you're flying a bird, like when I met you and I did the lure demonstration with Roxy, just the act of that bird flying around chasing the lure, it emulates a hunting style of flight. and it sends alarm bells through the other birds in the area, so they kind of scatter. The trick is you have to keep doing it to make sure the birds stay away. But yeah, very interesting. Fun.
So if someone was interested in learning more about it, there's an awful lot to research and to practice and whatnot. So where would you suggest their first step be?
Well, there's a number of places they can go in terms of websites. Of course, the OFAH. Mm-hmm. There's also the Ministry of Natural Resources, and it's a very long acronym now, I think, because it's amalgamated to 3 different ministries. But they will have information on falconry on their page, and also the Ontario Hawking Club, which is a falconry organization in the province. So any of those places will have resources. The key is, and I will say this, there are some individual, because falconry, Scotty and I were chatting about this briefly earlier. There is a cool factor to it. And that was not the thing that ever motivated me. I was really always interested in developing the relationship with the bird. And then once I realized that I was a hunter as well as the bird, it really does develop into a hunting partnership. Mm-hmm. And it's a lifestyle. So like right now, it's kind of not appropriate for me to have a bird. It's a lifestyle that you have to build your life around it. But there are people that you'll find them on Kijiji or, these people that advertise, take a falconry course and learn falconry in a weekend. I will strongly recommend not to do that. It is supposed to be an apprenticeship. So, get your small game, you do your hunter education, get your small game hunting license, and find a falconer who would be your sponsor to you. It's an apprenticeship that is 2 years. And my first apprentice just completed last year, at the beginning of this year. So it takes some time to learn, and it's not something to be rushed into for sure.
Right. And you're just talking about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're someone that travels, or even if let's say you want to go for a weekend, like, who looks after this animal?
Well, yeah. And so, you really do have to have a community. Mm-hmm. When people first start out into falconry, maybe they might only know their sponsor. And so if you think you're going to go away anywhere, then you need to make sure that your sponsor will be able to look after your bird. It can't just be somebody who doesn't have a background. It's not like looking after somebody's pet cat or dog. It's very specific to raptors. And tied into that, there needs to be some kind of understanding of proper care of the bird, proper welfare, signs of sickness, signs of stress. You need to know how to handle birds of prey. You need to for sure know the falconry knot. So there's a lot of things to it that you can't really tell when you see a photo of somebody holding a bird, right? Like I have a few photos of, here's a cool bird, but there's so much more to it than that.
Can you give me an idea of the cost of birds? And I know that's going to vary between, like, if you were to get, a American kestrel as opposed to a bald eagle. Yes.
Well, if you are starting in falconry, and this is one of the things that I worked on when I was a director for the Ontario Hawking Club for quite a few years, and which is how I got to know the OFAH, because we were a member club. But in terms of cost, when you're starting an apprenticeship, ideally you should start in Ontario with a red-tailed hawk, and you should trap one, basically capture one from the wild. A passage bird basically on its first migration under the guidance of an experienced falconer, your sponsor, or a community of people that have experience trapping and knowing how to handle a wild bird. But this is the tradition of falconry, and an apprentice falconry license is about $20, and I don't believe there is a cost for a trapping permit. Mm-hmm. So that is how you would start. If you want to, and the reason is, in most of North America, that's how people get into falconry, is they capture their juvenile red tail, and they train it, hunt with it, and then they release it in the spring back to the wild. So it's a borrowing. It's not a harvest.
Mm-hmm.
If once you get some experience and you want to get into flying, like a peregrine, for example, right? A male peregrine is maybe like $1,000. Female is $1,200 to $1,500 on average. It's not. A purebred hunting dog would be probably more expensive than a bird of prey. So yeah, and then different, some species in Ontario, we're now able to trap 5 different species. Some species are better off to be borrowed from the wild than bred in captivity, and vice versa. So it kind of depends what you want to get into. But definitely, if you're looking at beginning falconry, start with the red tail. They're adapted well to the climate here. They're adapted well to the game that we have. So you'd be hunting cottontail rabbits, and that's where you would start. To be honest, the expense comes is more associated with all of the equipment and the shelter. So you need to build a special hawk house. You need to get specialized equipment, and with the price of lumber and some other things, that can be a few $1,000s, depending on what bird you get and how big you build things, etc. So,
somebody was asking, Christina was asking, is there a competitive part of falconry? Are there competitions or?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thanks for the question, Christina. And thanks, and I'm not seeing all the comments, so thanks for that, Scotty. There are like actual competitions. There are places like in the States where they have things called sky trials, and it's not like competing against other falconers necessarily. It's more like seeing how high the falcons can fly and then stoop down. How fast can they stoop down? But I would say the vast majority of falconers, do not get into falconry for the competitive aspect. It's probably one of the oldest forms of hunting that has not changed in thousands of years. The equipment is pretty much the same as it always was. Now you can buy some things, a lot of things, but you can still make things. So, and I would use the terms, but it wouldn't make sense to anybody.
A-Rod was asking too, what birds do you use at the airports? For your
Airports. You know what? It really depends on what species of bird you need to keep away from the runway. So if you are facing a lot of Canada geese, then eagles are the thing. Peregrines will chase them too. But they really start moving when there's eagles. So usually, at the airport, you have different kinds of falcons. You have peregrine falcons, and then some of the falcons from the old world. So saker falcons, lugger falcons. Harris hawks are a very popular falconry bird. The reason being is, so typically raptors are solitary. They will mate and raise their young, but otherwise they're solitary. They're not gregarious, with the exception of Harris hawks. And because Harris hawks in the wild live in family groups, they are much more amenable to falconry and developing that relationship more easily than some of the other species. So Harris hawks are, and also because Harris hawks are versatile. So, you see a lot of Harris hawks kind of everywhere, right? Different kinds of bird abatement, whether it's airports or fruit farms or landfill sites, and anywhere that you need to kind of manage problem birds. You see a range. Yeah.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, you are an angler as well as.
That was my first love. Fishing
Yeah.
was my first love.
Steve had said, and it's a great comment, great question. He said, Scotty, it's the elephant in the room. Have you taught your raptor to catch your fish for you, or are these all caught on a rod and a reel?
That's funny. I have not heard that one. I've usually heard, do you use the birds to find your game when you're hunting, like to go look for deer or something? But, yeah, no. No, I never. Yeah, you don't like. You don't. Osprey are not a falconry bird, really. Oh, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, but I love fishing, and again, self-taught. Like I was, if it wasn't for the folks like Bob Azumi and Henry Wozchuk and Atala Labignan, and these guys from the 80s and 90s, I never would have learned how to fish. Because again, I don't. I'm the only one in my family who does any of this stuff.
Wow.
So they're not outdoors people?
No, I think my dad humored me when I was a kid. I wanted to go camping and fishing, so he got me one of those Canadian Tire specials, and with the cork handle, and we started going camping, and that's how it started. But I would spend from about February to June watching fishing shows every Saturday morning and making notes and what I wanted to try and where on the lake we should canoe to fish. And
do you recognize that photo of you in the canoe?
Was that the one that you took from?
Yeah, in Temagami, when we went to Temagami.
Yes, that was a great trip.
Yeah.
So that's your pick, Yvonne?
I'm just going to say this to everybody. I'm so grateful for everything that you do, and
thank you,
and for creating such a welcoming, collegial space. It just makes all the difference in the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very kind.
True.
Now, Christina has asked, is there a favorite bird of yours that you have flown? Because you are a bird lover. There's so many bird pictures.
Yeah. My first bird, Marcy. Yeah. And of course, I've done some conservation stuff. That's a ferruginous hawk chick, and I started doing some gun hunting too. But my first bird, Marzi, was. It sounds strange to say if a bird could be the love of one's life, I always thought if I could meet a man like that, it would just be right, because he was like, my bird was like a total gentleman with me, and then with everything else, he was, he had this real tough side, but yeah. He was, we had such a, I didn't think you could have a relationship like that with the bird of prey, because even birds that are born in captivity, like he was, hey, John, I saw that. Yeah. But even birds born in captivity, like he was, they're innately wild. They're not domestic in the same way that dogs and cats and other domestic animals have been domesticated over thousands of years. And so the bird has to choose that relationship. And it doesn't always happen. And this is something I've noticed. Maybe it's just me, but it's an approach to falconry that I find women tend to do a little bit easier, generally speaking, than men. And maybe it's because we're wired to be more relational. But I just find that there is so much potential and richness to experience that relationship, in addition to the hunting aspect.
Well, there goes my falconry prowess. Just put it in the window.
You've mentioned the OFAH, and you've been a volunteer with them for quite some time.
Yes.
And on like the provincial board of directors.
Yes.
as well as other committees. And would you like to talk a little bit about that
I
experience?
would love to. I love the OFAH. I got involved with them. Well, it was through their support of falconry in Ontario, because we didn't have for many years falconry regulations, or the full spectrum of regulations that would allow for the complete practice of the art. And falconry is an art. And the OFAH was really always supportive of falconry, and really did help push that last little bit to allow us to borrow birds from the wild for training in falconry and hunting. And so I got involved with OFAH in 2014 or 15 probably, on a committee. And anyway, then I ended up getting elected as a director at large. And now I am serving, I just started my second term as a provincial director at large. There's 41 directors. Myself and one other director are female at the moment. So, and you know what? It's such a lovely organization. It's definitely a labor of love for the people that are not just the volunteers, but also the staff. And it's important, again, that women get more involved, not just in outdoor pursuits, but in holding positions of influence and authority. Because as a director for that organization, I mean, we set the policy for the and the vision and the direction for the organization. So it's an important role. And yes, it's work too, but that's what you do, right? I mean, all of these things, like we were talking earlier, before we came live, all of these things that we do, that we love to enjoy in the outdoors, we wouldn't be able to do it if we weren't also dedicated to conservation. We have to be dedicated to conservation. And that is partly why I love the OFAH, because they recognize that. So yes, I've been involved for a number of years. I currently am chair of the Small Game Migratory Bird and Wetland Committee. So, it's kind of, and if anybody is interested in what we're doing, the annual report and the committee reports are available on the website. And also very cool. So one of the things that I'm interested in doing, in addition to the conservation, is encouraging more women and also younger people to get involved. And last year, we piloted a program called Next Gen. And so this was a program to involve folks from the 18 to 29 years of age group. We got fantastic interest, and I think we ended up having 4 committees where we had 3 ambassadors, new ambassadors, sit on each committee, and I was able to get 3 for the small game committee. One of the 3 ambassadors is a young woman who I invited to stay on the committee as a permanent member. She's currently, her name is Kelly McLean. She's doing some excellent, really interesting research at the University of Waterloo. She's doing her PhD on sandhill cranes. But actually all of our ambassadors were just fantastic. And so June, we just got the invitation sent out by staff a few days ago that applications for the upcoming year are open. So I would really encourage people, yourself, if you're in that age group, or if you have younger friends or relatives, to apply and get involved. Because, all the things we do, we can't look at it, in my opinion, as just taking. It's a give and a take, right? We have to give back. And this is one way to do it, right? And, it involves kind of also developing a community of people and engaging with Ministry of Natural Resources, Canadian Wildlife Service, other NGOs. I mean, it's just there's a lot of work to do.
Amen.
You were also involved with, I think, with Ducks Unlimited. There's a
yeah.
conservation area or something near you, and they have cabins and all that, and I forget the name of it.
Yes, I worked for Delta Waterfowl for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, down in Turkey Point, and also another organization that's focused on hunting and conservation. And I mean, I think that I mean, these things are important, right? And so I did some work installing hen houses, different places in Ontario that will help encourage, and provide a little bit of shelter, primarily for mallard ducks, but other species will use them as well. And so there's lots of great work. And Yvonne and Scotty, you probably have experienced this. Like, once you get into this kind of community and you start volunteering or you start working, or just even going to some of these events, you end up meeting the same people all over the place. It's a really small world, really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat too, because it's a great sense of community. And I think if we can positively support each other, work together, work towards the same kinds of goals, then we'll really kind of make a dent in terms of sustainability and conservation, and kind of being able to encourage these wonderful things, lifestyle things, getting into nature, and also just being able to, I mean, gosh, we live in a place where we can harvest resources, and there's resources to harvest. I mean, it's such a privilege I'm so grateful to have been, born and raised in this land.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Well, it draws to an end, this incredible segment. And as always, Yvonne, you've hit it out of the park with your guest. Maya,
thank you.
People that are going to be contacting you after this segment.
100%. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of folks that are interested in doing it. I'm sure Christina's going to be a falconer.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's great. And So shout out to falconry and OFAH and the Ontario Hawking Club and Ontario Women Anglers, and anyway, the community. I really appreciate the time.
Right on, Maya. Thanks so much. You have yourself a great week, great weekend, and hopefully we see you again soon.
Sounds good, Scotty. You take care.
All the best.
We have a little giveaway too. So I'll post, like I always do, like a question on one of our website pages, and whoever correctly answers it, we do a draw. So there's going to be some Jackal eye shads, nice. A Shimano decal, and a Power Pro buff.
Beautiful.
So I'll send that out hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how the day goes.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be a bird question.
I think so.
Going out on a limb. Well, Yvonne, thanks so much for doing this, as always.
You're welcome.
Just incredible, the guests that you continue to bring on. Extremely educational, and as Maya said, you do a lot in our community, and we truly appreciate you for it.
Thank you.
Have yourself a great week, Yvonne. Looking forward to our next one.
All right. Good night.
Peace. Well, it doesn't end there. We have so much still to get to. But before we do, I just want to play you an ad that I put together this weekend for one of our sponsors, North Shore. And I'm really proud of it. It's kind of cool. The underwater footage is amazing. Have a look. Evening, lads.
Hey,
How we doing? Jim, I made it. I see. Thank you so much.
I'm eating, sleeping, Jackal.
Boy. James with us as well, as is. It's always the ladies segment. The ladies always go first. I mean, I learned so much about falconry. I learned that I'm not going to be a falconer because I'm a dude. No, I'm kidding. But interesting stuff. Absolutely interesting stuff. One of the coolest things that I remember about birds was being at some kind of workshop, and I can't for the life of me remember it. I wanted to ask Maya this, but when we're sitting in the audience and they're explaining, the bird and what it ate and where it lived and what have you, it kept looking up. And somebody in the audience finally asked the question, "What does the bird keep looking up for?" And he said, and the woman said, "Well, probably because he sees another bird." And we're all looking up. There's no bird up there. He said, "No, you need magnifying glasses." So binoculars come out. Guy says, "You're not going to believe this, but there is a bird up there." The eyesight of these things is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But that was one of the biggest takeaways I ever had when dealing with birds. I just couldn't get over their eyesight.
I got two bird stories. Good ones. So they're doing a thing with the owls and the birds and the hawks in the arena. There's 2,500, 3,000 people in Toronto, and they got the bird out there and they're letting it fly around. All of a sudden, it lands in a crowd, and it lands on a guy's head, and it flies away with his hat, and it was a Shimano hat.
No!
That is, I swear on my mother's grave. He picked up a Shimano hat and was flying around with it, and then it dropped it. And the other one was when they had, I forget the organization now, they also be at the show, and they had an owl, a barn owl, because I guess they're in a little bit of difficulty. There's not a lot of them around or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had this barn owl, and I asked the lady, I said, what's his name? And we're in the media room, because they had just done the thing with on the day the show opened with all the media. And she says, "Big Jim, his name is Odo, because that's the shapeshifter. That's why she named him that, because the other way they turn around. And it's really creepy. Like I've had the owl on my arm and been talking to the back of his head. Like it's like when Tammy's are with me and I'm squawking about something, I'm looking at the back of her head. But
if you're the one squawking, who's the bird, Jim?
He's turning around, he's got the back of his head to me. He turns around, she takes him back, and he flies back over and he lands on my head. And as soon as he landed on my head, I looked at the girl that had him and I said, "He's got a pretty good grip on me right now. Like, what should I do?" And she said, "Well, don't move." And I said, "Yeah, well, it's getting a little bit harder." And a guy called Lauren Whitty, that used to be the outdoor writer for the Ottawa Journal newspaper and the Ottawa, what was it called? Not the Sun, but it was before the Sun. The Herald, I think it was.
The Herald, yeah. It was the Herald, yeah.
So he's filming it, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, blood starts running down both sides of my eyes, stripping out my nose, and the bird's he's just locked on. And then I turned to look at the girl, and when I turned, he just went, "I better get a grip here," like that. But it was just priceless. I was running around the rest of the sportsman show with Band-Aids all over the top of my head.
Ouch.
Stories.
Yeah, speaking of hats, so Jim, if you wear those Daniel Boone hats out in the wilderness, you can get attacked by an owl, right? Sometimes they'll swoop right down on you thinking you're...
Come on now.
Oh yeah, it happened to my friend, and there was a case not so long ago about a postal delivery person here in the Gatineaus. He always wore one of these furry hats too, and this one owl wouldn't stop leaving him alone. And it day after day, he on his postal delivery route, this owl kept trying to nail him.
Wow. I think it may have been a dog in its first life. Who knows? I want to bring on our next guest, Alicia, but Jay, I wanted to bring up something with you that Richard Plott shared with me this week. And it's unfortunate news because it looks like a new disease has hit our beloved walleye. I forget what the disease is called. I wish I was more prepared for this, but it's something that we'll definitely have to talk about in a coming show. But it looks like the fillet has been left out in the sun, and it looks dried up. It's sandy. It's ruined. But it's a disease that unfortunately has been found in some Great Lakes walleye and a couple inland fish as well. It has been confirmed what it is, but something that we're definitely going to talk about. So if Richard, you are listening, it's not that we forgot to get to it this week. Yeah. Just we're busy. But did you see anything of it?
No, I haven't actually. So it's funny now with the way media is set up now, social media, and just us being able to connect more. There's just so much more information out there, and so much more being shared, good and bad, right? So, like people are taking photos of all kinds of fish now on their phones and sending them in. What is this? What is that? And it's amazing to me. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it depends on where you live and what you fish for. But some of the photos that come through are like, that's a very common species. But if you're not an avid angler, you don't know it. And then even with diseases, these things are being, we're learning all the time that there's new ones out there. It's not necessarily that they're new. They've just not well documented.
Right.
So yeah, no, we can look into it and we can just kind of see what's up with it. So
100%. Well,
I posted a picture the other day on Facebook, and he didn't even take the time to look. It was from like 7 or 8 years ago of a whole bunch of dead muskies that Sean Landsman had gathered from the St. Lawrence.
Yep.
And the guys, look at this, there's all the muskies in the St. Lawrence River died. They don't even look at the date. Now I got people messaging me, did you hear about it? Because they're all from Gananoque, Brockville here, And they said, is that true? All the muskies in the St. Lawrence River died? I said, well, some of them died, not all of them, and they seem to have somehow recovered very well from it. Because I know a lot of guys that are out there.
Even this week, Jim, this week it's come up again. What's funny is I saw a Facebook. It was a post that was sent to me from the Thousand Islands chapter of Muskies Inc. And they have a letter out saying if you report a dead muskie, if you see a dead muskie, please report it, and it explains how to. And I was trying to find a news story or something that was covering it, and I found news stories. It's funny, dating back like 10 and 15 years ago, because this record keeping of dead muskies has gone on. VHS and other things have been really doing a number on this species in that water body for, I'm going to say, close to 20 years now.
And I know some guys that have been catching them really good the last couple of years, just a little bit east of, like, more toward, over toward, like, Waddington and that, like, down below the weir. And I don't know if they got dead ones down that far. I'm not sure about that. But,
well, Lawrence, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to chime in here and give us an update of what's actually going on.
Well, Jason just shared a link with me today, and there's a call for help put out by that muskie chapter, and they say they've got the Thousand Island Biological Research Station involved there, and so I'm going to reach out to that. I know the researcher there. I've had him on a Bluefish Radio a few times, and I'll reach out as well as to the Save the River keeper. I got contacts there, and they have a lot. They're really into the muskie, so we'll get some news on this and report back on that next Monday. Okay, that's
cool. Yeah, we got lots to talk about next Monday, but right now I want to bring on a special guest, Alicia Raytrowski. And Jay, thanks so much for thinking about this. I know Jim was in on it as well, but we're going to bring Alicia in because she has some incredible news that she wants to share with us. And Alicia, it's always a pleasure to see you. But I'd first and foremost, congratulations. Like, this is truly epic of you to be associated and involved in this. And I want you to talk a little bit more about it so everyone understands what it is I'm talking about.
Sure. So I don't even remember the date of when the qualifier was on Petawawa, but
last July.
Last July.
Yep.
I got third on the non-boater side for the qualifier. And so this Saturday I head to Waddington, New York for the Bass Nation Northeastern Regional, along with the rest of the Team Ontario to see how we can do on the St. Lawrence.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Cool.
and I think what's important to mention is that, like this is no small feat for Alicia to qualify for this event because so the Basque Nation is made up of 5 different regions across North America, across the U.S., but there's 11 international regions that are recognized, including Japan, Australia, Canada through Ontario Basque Nation, Portugal, Italy, Spain, South Africa, France, Mexico, Zimbabwe, and Namibia are all listed as the different, basically the different divisions. So where Alicia's going is she's going to compete in the Northeastern Regional Division, which is made up of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Rhode Island. There's a couple other ones in there. So these are the 10 best co-anglers, the 10 best anglers from each division. And Spain is sending a team, I think, and so is Ontario, to this event. So this is really the, as grassroots as it gets to qualify for the Basque Nation. It's a long road to get there. And, it is ladies' night. And I want to mention that very few ladies have qualified and competed on Team Ontario. So big congratulations to Alicia. And I know it's been a long wait, but we're almost there. So
That's awesome.
No kidding. No kidding.
With it's well deserved in my opinion, and I'm sure that is shared with a lot of our community. But Alicia, you also need some help, and tell us a little bit about because this is not going to be a cheap endeavor. This is going to cost some money, and you are doing a fundraiser to try and raise money for this trip.
Yeah, we're selling raffle tickets for $10 each to raise money for the expenses for the travel. Of course, gas is super expensive right now.
Yeah.
And hotel stay and everything down there. You can contact me through Messenger on Facebook, or that's probably the easiest way. And I can let you know how to send money for the raffle tickets. And yeah, there's tons of great prizes. There's Veritas rod combo from Abu Garcia. There's a really good rain suit by Gil. There's a whole bunch. There's a Berkeley prize pack with a whole bunch of baits, including some power bait max scent baits, of course. My favorite.
Are you bringing back all the stuff I'm going to win?
Yeah, I'll bring it to you, Jim. I'll dog ear your raffle ticket for you.
Well,
That's what she said to me the other day. She's going to dog ear my tickets so I win.
It's funny you mentioned this, Jim, because it was actually a question I wanted to ask you. With Alicia going to this area, and I'm sure you fished this many times, is there anything that you could advise in terms of what to bring or places to go or anything, any guidance from that vast amount of knowledge you have?
Am I allowed to talk to you?
I don't know.
So wait, hold on. I need to check this because I'm a little concerned here.
Yeah, it might be not within the rules.
So as of June 13th, which is today, it's the off limits, no info period.
Oh,
so
it is dog ear my
go.
We're too late.
It's too late. Too late.
Wow.
We gotta. Yeah.
It's okay if I haven't done my research by now. I'm in trouble.
I know that's why the questions that they use when they have to do a lie detector test. That's why the questions take that out. Like if I was to say something here and you haven't solicited the information from me, then the question you can't get caught for that.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to David Walker one day and I started talking to him and he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like that on the phone, I was talking to him. He was the win, and that was the year he came, I think, third in the elite down there. So that wouldn't have been good.
Wow,
if I know Alicia, she's already asked everybody every question twice that you can think of in the past 8 months, 10 months. I'm sure of it.
You never asked me. I'm offended again.
Oh no! Don't be offended.
That's
He's ripping up
triple
his
dog
ticket.
year now.
Ripping up his
I'll
ticket.
bet you she's talked to some of your friends, Jim. I'm going to guarantee you she has.
Hey, you would. Hey, did you? Was I mistaken? Did you fish with Travis Surratt last year up there
I did.
on the last day? Yeah, he was here yesterday. He moved in like about 5 minutes away from me.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's here every day now. No, I'm just kidding. He's not.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Jim, I was going to say, like, that's a great part of Alicia's story, right? Because, you know, when you go to these events, you're fishing as a co-angler and an angler in a boat, and it's not shared weight. You got to catch each of your own fish, okay? And so Alicia goes out on day one. I was at the cottage then, and I texted her and TJ to see how they were doing because they're both fishing, and I knew she told me she was doing really well. And I said, well, who did you draw the next day? And Petawawa River has been very good to me over the years. I've made the team there once before, and I've been close 2 other times. It's a wonderful fishery. And anyone who wants to just go fish a beautiful part of Ontario, go to the Ottawa River near Petawawa. So Alicia texted
Just
me.
watch out for the shoals.
Well, yeah, watch out for the shoals. So, well, it's a good way to eliminate competition, Lawrence. So
It slows them down, anyways.
it does. So Alicia, she's telling me, and obviously she's very excited after her first day one, and then she said to me, and she goes, well, I got my draw partner for the next day. And I said, who is it? She goes, oh, Travis Surratt. I go, oh, you're going to be just fine. Travis is
Knows the water. Yeah.
he has won
really
made Team
good
Ontario several times, you know, and so it just works out. But there's sometimes, you know, the stars don't align for events like that. But Alicia, the stars align for you. You still got to catch your own fish. You know, at the end of the day, when these events happen, and I always tell people, co-anglers have a tough go because you don't have any say in where you go. You have to go where the angler takes you, and to compete well in those events as a co-angler takes it's a special thing. So, you know, congrats, and that's so awesome. And you qualified at a smallmouth, a great smallmouth fishery, and you're going to go to probably right now what is probably, and no offense to anybody on the line from Lake Simcoe or anywhere else, but probably Waddington, New York, is probably right now the best smallmouth fishery in the world. Right
Yes,
now.
we're super
in the
excited.
United States for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anywhere. I mean, look at the people they put on there. They put on 100 of those elite guys, and 3/4 of them bring in 25 pounds.
That's
You don't see that happen anywhere else.
amazing.
No, it's a
and you're gonna get to
Travis
hang with
actually-
Barb Elliott. I heard. Is that what I heard in the grapevine? You're gonna hang with Barb?
Yep, we're gonna hang with Barb. I organized
so good.
with John Stewart so she could do some of her fizzing.
Beautiful.
So yeah, so it'll be good. She
Beautiful.
can show people her fizzing techniques, and
Yeah.
I can finally meet her in person.
I got her fizzing needle right here. I got one of hers right on my desk.
Yeah.
They're
Never
so
go.
huge. They're so
Yeah.
huge.
So Jeanette asked if you will have a fan page on Facebook that people can follow you, and of course TJ right away said the Fishing Fanatic. So if anybody wants to keep up to date with this journey, this is the best way to do it. But on behalf of all of us here, Alicia, it's an honor that you joined us tonight. But congratulations on this incredible feat, and good luck to you.
Thank you. I will be sharing. Apparently, we're going to be doing Bass Track on Bassmaster. So,
Oh wow!
so as long as I have cell service and they're texting me, I text them back my weight and how many fish I have. So, I'll try and keep everyone updated that way without actually texting or talking to anybody.
I'll be watching.
and we'll have to have you on in a few weeks, regardless of what happens. But we know
Yeah.
you're going to do well.
That'd be fun.
Absolutely. And in the
Wouldn't it
meantime,
be cool if you won?
Pardon?
Wouldn't it be cool if you won?
Oh, that would be, but
Very
Put
possible.
a little bit of pressure here.
Well, and so that's the reality, right? If she does win, even though she's in the co-angler division, she does get to compete as an angler going forward. So if she goes, so once you finish at this regional event, the top co-angler and the top angler go together to nationals. And then at nationals, even co-anglers can advance to the Bassmasters Classic from the nationals. Like, this is literally big bass, big stage, big dreams that Dave always talks about. This is the first step up to the stage. No pressure, Alicia, but it's the first step.
yeah,
Honestly,
I feel it.
and Alicia, Brandon Palaniuk, Mike Iconelli, so many other anglers have been on the same step that you're going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's amazing.
yeah, it's amazing.
And some great Canadians as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Charles
Mhm.
Sims, he followed that path and he made it
Yep.
all the way to the Classic.
Yep.
Wow. Are you going to be going down to this at all, Lawrence? It's pretty close to you.
The Waddington one I've gone to, and it's amazing. Like, you talk about putting on a festival, right? They have everything for children. They have bouncy castles. You bring the family. There's food. There's entertainment. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. 100,000 people show up.
Are you allowed back in there now, Lawrence?
Well,
Because
with
of
my
the
other
bouncy
passport,
castle
the other
incident?
passport I'm using, I can go in. Right?
Oh man, I tell you.
No, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Well, listen, Alicia, as I said, thanks so much for joining us tonight. If you want to help out and help Alicia with this journey, please get a hold of her on Messenger. Any and all will be welcome in terms of funds that you can make available. Any generous donation will certainly help this female Canadian chase her dream. And we're
Alicia, it's like this.
Okay, just like that.
On the corner like that.
You have a great night, Alicia. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I hope you'll whip them.
Bye.
Thanks. Good luck.
And that's the link there. Thanks for sharing that, Jay. That's if you want to help out. There's instructions there. That was very, very apropos. Good of you to do. Thanks for reminding me, and Jim as well. This truly is, as you guys
I
explained.
stuck $50 in that. I called her. I said, "How do I do it? I'm computer illiterate." So.
Well, at least we're not asleep like the dog. I tell you, I'm falling asleep just watching you pet it once.
Well, before we all doze off here, this weekend is Father's Day weekend. Okay?
Yeah.
And this weekend is also one of the free family fishing weekends in Ontario, and I put a link up. So go fishing, no excuses. Don't need a license this weekend. Just go in Ontario.
Absolutely. And remember, if you do catch a fish and it's the first fish you've caught this year, you can enter it in the CFN.
Hey, you got to see something cool. I was absolutely elated today. I don't know whether you can see all those boxes there?
Yeah.
That was all stuff from the Canadian Sport Fishing Industry Association for me for kids things.
Oh,
A whole bunch of stuff.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's really cool because my stash has been greatly depleted. Greatly.
Speaking of your stash, I have not forgotten. We have a giveaway that we're going to be doing at some point that involves someone that would be a serious fly tire. And that prize pack, when I opened it up, Jim brought it home. I couldn't believe how much is in it. But for someone that is serious in the fly tying, and we're going to have to get creative. I know I've talked to Jay about it as well on how we're going to give it away. But,
because I know nothing about fly fishing. I haven't done it. You know what I mean? It's what it is.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I just know there's a lot of stuff in there.
No, it is. It's jam-packed full of all kinds of stuff, and we'll be giving that away. So if you are a young angler, I'm going to say this. I'll give out a couple of hints. If you're a young angler and you can tie, I know Cabby's Custom Jigs, they tie some great stuff over there. You could be involved in it doesn't matter if you're professional or amateur. We will welcome all comers, and I have a feeling that this panel here will be the judges. So be creative, and it'll be cool. But we'll announce that in the coming weeks.
And I have to comment on that for a second, Scotty, because with a lot of anglers, I've learned something recently. A lot of anglers are very intimidated to try new things.
Yep.
Okay, we're stuck in our ways, especially fly fishing. Okay, so get this: leave it to a kid to not be scared to try anything.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor was watching fish at the local reservoir, feeding on insects on the surface, doesn't own a fly rod, didn't even think twice. Went over to his lawnmower money, went down to Canadian Tire in Delhi here, and they probably only have one fly rod in the whole place. He bought the kit, and he takes it with him when he going out on his evening. Doesn't even know, he's never had a lesson in his life. The other day I watched him fly casting for carp in this one reservoir we were at. Like, it's just great how some people they don't care. If that's how I'm going to catch him, that's how I'm going to catch him, and I'm going to do it. And I wish we were more like that.
He's been posting lots of pictures.
Oh, it's crazy. And he has no fear to try something new. And, you know, I'm not just bragging about my kid. I wish more of us were like that. You know, I would not just go pick up something new and try it like that. He has no fear about it.
Well, see, I've always been big time like that because you've heard me comment at one point when I was tournament fishing and everything, I think I had like 180 Plano boxes in the fishing room, and they were just stacked. It was like ridiculous. And you could almost pick up a box and look at it and go, oh, that would have been 1997 by the new stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then gone to the next box. And by the dates that stuff were released, you know, there was always a box with a pile of stuff that was new. And, you know, you can't forget, you know, that's why carpenters still use a hammer and they have a handsaw in case they need it for certain tools.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, there's new stuff out there. I mean, look at me getting on to, you know, fishing with some of this. So my big deal this year is going to be fishing frogs, like toads, you know, horny toads, the Texas great frog. I got a bug to do that.
Yeah.
I got a bug to do that. Why? Because I'm in the boat with Chong and he's talking about one after the other.
Yeah.
So I did it like 30 years ago. So I've got 10 or 12 packs of those new what Z-Man frogs there, the ones that they just put out.
Yep.
And I've got 3-aught, 4-aught, 5-aught hooks, and I'm ready to go.
That's nice.
Jay, speaking of
try new stuff, you know, I like this weekend when the bass season opens, I just know you're going to see somebody at the spot last year that they went to and caught nothing, and you will see them back there doing the same thing.
Yep.
And catching nothing. And you really need to you really need to teach yourself to do different things. Yes. You know, why do you think there's Kevin Van Dam's? Because those guys' minds were just like a friggin' wind tunnel. And just new stuff, try stuff, do stuff. How many times have you seen him change right in the middle of a day in a tournament? Yep. Just throw everything on the deck, put the straps down, and go a complete different direction. And after a couple more days, holding up a trophy with $100,000. 300.
Well, really, the same in my eyes, anyway, could be said about Alicia. You know, I thought she was much like the rest of us, that she just enjoyed fishing. But you know, to watch how she has blossomed and this journey that she's on, and now, you know, is so competitive at it that she could potentially make some money.
Well, it's that grassroots thing that gets people involved in it, and that's where BSS is so good at that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of organizations that are good at it, but I don't care what anybody says. You know, BSS is the king. It's all there is to it. You ask any young kid, what do you want to win? The Bassmaster Classic.
True enough.
Yeah, and she's got the ability, and I know this. I've spent time in the boat with her. She's got the ability to do well. If she, you know, you still have to find the fish and be on the fish.
Yep. That's the hard thing.
But if the fish are there, she'll put herself in contention. I know that. You know.
Yeah, Travis.
Like I've watched her fish. She can do it.
Yep. Yeah. He said she
absolutely
can certainly hold her own. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a really good angler. So.
Wow. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure each and every Monday to spend this time with you. I look forward to it all the time. Jim, thanks so much for being able to make it tonight. Jay, as always, for what you did for Alicia, bringing her on, and of course, Lawrence. You've made it nap time for all of us, not just the dog.
He was barking out the window. I had to do something.
You did a fantastic job. You saved the day. You saved the day. Well, I'll just wrap this up with you guys. Thanks again, and keep up the great work. And truly appreciate the support and knowledge that you bring to our show every Monday.
You too, Scotty, man. Appreciate
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Right on.
See you next week.
Yeah, baby. And to you, the CFN community, for coming here every Monday and watching what is truly a great show. I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud of our community. And, we're going to continue to do this as long as you folks continue to show up. In the meantime, stay classy, be respectful of others, and get out and fish. Tight lines and good times. That's all we want to hear. It is Father's Day weekend, so go catch me a whale. All the best. Love you all. Take care. Enjoy your week. Dave, it's time for you to take us out. There it is. Take us away, Dave.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights. the party's over. They say that all good things must end.